Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give our praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone for teaching us the truth 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Aqua listening and studying to show thyself approved. Alright, so this is just another quick lesson. And what inspired me to do this lesson is a lesson that Elder Apostle Gabar just put out. Okay, this is this page right here, and the title of the lesson is "Rise Up, You Women at Ease." The coming colon will correct these women. Okay, and just the title alone should tell you what is, what his lesson is gonna go. Okay, because you got a lot of, certain mindset that Yahweh Shemi outside pretty much hate and despise. Okay, and that mindset is about to be cold out. It's about to be purged out and a coming calamity, and it's already been shown. Okay, and by the way that especially these women how they think, Yahweh Shemi outside is going to do away with that mindset, man, because it's not a mindset that's going to be in subjection upon Yahweh Shemi outside. As a matter of fact, let's get this go to another Bible real quick. Let's get this First Peter. Is it 4:17, I believe? Right. Okay. So, because in First Peter chapter 4:17, because it said, "For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai?" Okay. And so right here when it said, if it first began at us, which shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Shai. So those who have a certain mindset, a certain, you know, rebellious spirit, that's what it boils down to. Yahweh Shai is asking that question in 1 Peter 4:17. What should the end be of them that obey not the gospel? All right, so there's a certain mindset that Yahweh Shai is going to use. Okay, he's showing the examples of it right now. Okay, going into this lesson. Okay, I'm let me see something. See, I like when Elder Apostle Gabar pull up the definition real quick, which is the definition of colon.
That's why you make statements like, "I don't need no man." But the days are coming when Big Daddy government ain't gonna give a shit about you. So,
right, see? So that's perfect right there. That's that mindset that Yahweh Shai is gonna purge out. Okay, because that's the very same mindset that brought forth monster. That's the same mindset that allowed Esau Edom to get the power that he has. Okay, that allowed Esau Edom to destroy the nuclear family. Okay, so that's I'm gonna rewind it back a little bit and play it again.
Especially so-called black women. So now this is a warning to you, Isaiah 32. You careless ones will suddenly begin to care. There you go. Because this society is tanking. All right, when this society crumbles, the last thing the government is going to be thinking of doing is taking care of you women. You women are going to be out on your own. You women are going to be out on your own. Big Daddy government ain't going to be there for you. For your fruit crops will fail. There you go. Big Daddy government is not going to be there for you women like they are for you right now. And the harvest will never take place. Like I said, Big Daddy government, that's a metaphor for Big Daddy government is not going to be there for you women to take care of you. That's why the Lord said, rise up you women that are at ease. One of the reasons you're at ease and you don't need a man, you know what? You women are so at ease, you make statements like, "I don't need no man." Yeah, because you got Big Daddy government taking care of you.
Right, and see, and that's the spirit right there. Because when the Elder Apostle Gabar actually mentions that they make statement that I don't need no man, when you go into their word at ease, it actually goes into arrogant. Okay, because when it says rise up, you women that are at ease, that word at ease. Matter of fact, let's Let's pull it up real quick. Isaiah 32 and verse 9, right? And we go quick Hebrew definition when it says at ease, that are at ease, right?
Strong's H7600. Sha'anan.
And he says at ease, quiet, secure, at ease, secure. All right, not talking about that. And it says at ease, careless, wanton, arrogant. Okay. Security, pride, arrogance, one at ease, arrogance. Okay, so that's what that. So when the elder apostle Gabar mentioned that, he basically just broke down the very definition of at ease right here. Okay, the Hebrew word is shanan, right, and it means arrogant. Okay, and that's a lot of these women that have that arrogant attitude when they say, "I don't need a man." All right. And so that arrogant attitude migrated to a lot of different behaviors to where they don't take accountability for their own action. Okay, so cause I got another video that I wanted to show. All right, so that and cause as I was listening to Elder Apostle Gabar, I immediately went back to this video that I saw like last week. This is fair use. All right, this is fair use. All right, I'm not using it. This is just for edification purposes. Okay, so this is a page by the average man unplugged. All right, and the title of that video is let's look at it. Hold on. Okay, it says ladies of TikTok are triggered by the 100 women versus accountability trend going viral. All right, so let me put this on pause because I don't want to play the commercial real quick and bear with me for a minute. All right, here we go.
This next video I'm about to show you guys.
Okay, let me rewind it back just a little bit.
Men are getting tired of y'all not taking accountability. Really? And I've mentioned this before because stats show that women hold far more STDs than men do. And y'all still want to sit over here and try to blame men.
And that's the scripture right there. So that right there, let's get this. I'm gonna come back to the second address. Hold on, let me. All right, let's get this. The book of Proverbs, chapter 30. And when we play the rest of this clip, you're gonna see. When you play that clip, you're gonna see. Okay, how these women act and how they lack accountability. But this is Proverbs chapter 30 and 20, and it says, "Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness." Okay, and so they do some all type of mischievous behavior, whatever it is, they do all manner of wickedness, and they ain't gonna take accountability for it. They do all type of dirt, and they still will say, I have done no wickedness. I ain't did nothing wrong. You know. So let's go back into the clip.
I tell you, bro. Even when the stats don't support women's position, they will stand by it and die on that hill if they have to, bro. You talk about ego. Yeah, it is speaking of ego.
All right, matter of fact, I just thought of another precept. We'll play this, and I'm gonna go get that other precept.
Next video I'm about to show you guys, this story right here might be triggering. Oh, man. You just been warned, bro. And you talk about dodging accountability, man. Look at this story, bro.
Why the for secretly doing a DNA test on my child after my wife cheated on me? I have been married to my wife for 5 years. We have a 3-year-old son, and until recently, I never had a reason to doubt that he was mine. But that changed when I discovered my wife had been cheating on me. It broke my heart. I found messages on her phone that made it clear she was having an affair. When I confronted her, she admitted to it, but swore it only started last year. I wanted to believe her, but something inside me wouldn't let it go. The timing seemed off, and a nagging thought kept eating at me. What if my son isn't mine? I didn't ask her for a paternity test because I knew she'd flip out, so I did it in secret. When the results came back, my worst fear was confirmed. He wasn't mine.
Wow. Hold on a second. I actually did not expect this video to go this direction. I did not. His worst fear was confirmed. You can't make this shit up.
Was shattered. I confronted my wife again, showing her the DNA results. Instead of apologizing or even trying to explain, she completely lost it. She called me a monster for violating her trust. What?
You see that? So that's that Proverbs 30 and 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and says, I have not done no wickedness. All right. And she basically just gaslighted, okay, and try to make it sound like basically she tried to flip and became the victim. Okay. So let's get this was it Sirach chapter 25? Is it Sirach? Yeah, it's Sirach 25. It could be the 26th chapter as well too. Okay. Yeah, so this is Ecclesiastica, aka Sirach, chapter 25 and verse 19. And it said, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. And it said, and let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. All right, and that's that scripture right there. And it says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Okay, so if you have a wicked woman, any amount of wickedness that she do, it don't matter. It's a little. It's no big deal to her. Okay, and that's what this scripture is saying. All right, and so this is why Yahweh Shai, going back to the elder apostle Gabar, he gonna purge out that mindset. Okay, that colon process. All right, because when you go to the definition of colon, which I just got to looking at it, colon definition. And it says reduction of wild animal population by selective slaughtering. All right. And it says the action of sending an inferior or surplus farm animal to be slaughtered. Okay. And 'cause a lot of these women, they act like animals. They act like brute beasts. Okay. Uh, Another definition is to select from a group choose to reduce or control the size of as a herd by removal of usual weaker animals. Dictionary.com, it says the act or process of selecting and removing desirable or undesirable individual from a group, reducing farm exposure to bacteria. Let's see, and it says the process of gathering or collecting to realize progress through the transfer of idea and inform calling it of content and the extension of its shared knowledge based on essential. All right, so you pretty much get the point, and that's what your how about you Shai is doing. Okay, and I actually thought about that another precept, which Yahweh Shai even said it in Matthew the 10th chapter and the 34th verse, because he said, think not that I come to bring peace on earth. I came not to bring peace, but a sword. Okay, and he said, I came and set a man at variance, all right, going on, he said, I came to set a man at variance. When you further read on, he said, a man foe shall be day of his own household. Loosely paraphrasing. Okay, that is a process of calling. All right, he's separating who he want. He's separating the flock of Israel or who he want in his new kingdom. Okay, the new Jerusalem, new heaven and new earth. All right, and that's what the process. That's what you're seeing and today's and right now, all right, as in what's going on with how about you outside doing. He's starting that colon process. All right. Second Ezra 15 and verse 10, it said, behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. All right, and it says, and I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plague as before and would destroy all the land thereof. You see that? And so this is the Lord, he's doing it. He's putting in that work to where he's going to cut off the nation of Israel. Okay? And that part of the nation of Israel is going to be 2/3. 2/3 of the nation of Israel shall be cut off and die. Okay, let's get that. I'm come back to that Ezekiel. It's Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8. All right, will pretty much be the point. And it says, and it shall come to pass. Really, you start at verse 7, okay? Because it says, awake, O sword. And who is the sword and who got the blessing of the sword is none other than Esau, Edom, a so-called white man. Okay, so just like Elder Apostle Gabar was saying, Big Daddy government ain't gonna care. All right, so he's gonna use the very same individual that's in control of Big Daddy government that have control of and have the blessing of the sword. He's gonna be slaughtering these women. Okay, the undesirable. That's why he said, awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man that is my fellow, said the Lord Yahweh of hope, smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered, and I will turn my hand upon the little ones. All right? And verse 8, and it said, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Lord Yahweh Shai, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. Okay? So there's a 2 parts shall be cut off and die. And that's the Culling process that Yahweh Shai bring upon the whole world. All right, but specifically, he's starting with the nation of Israel. Okay, that's why we read 1 Peter chapter 4 and 17. Get a couple of precepts. 1 Peter chapter 3. And the point would be in verse 20. All right, we just go ahead and get straight to the point in verse 20. It says, which sometimes where we'll start at verse 19. It said, by which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Yahweh shall waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water. All right. And so that's again, that's another example of the colon that Yahweh is going to do. Second Ezra 8 and 3. There be many created, but few shall be saved. Okay. Ecclesiastica, aka Sirach, chapter 16 and 4, and it said, for by one that hath understanding shall the city be replenished, but the kindreds of the wicked shall speedily become desolate. All right. And that goes back into that very question. Okay. 1 Peter 4 and 17. All right, we read that again, 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17, okay, because it says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh Shai. If it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh Shai? All right, in verse 18, and it says, if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? You see that? And so where shall the godly and the sinner appear? And the ungodly and the sinner is going to appear in the slaughterhouse that Yahweh Shai is going to set up. Okay? And these are the individuals that are going to be sent to the slaughter. Okay? These individuals right here that think that they can just get away with no accountability.
She called me months for violating her trust and accused me of being the reason our marriage was falling apart. According to her, if I had just trusted her, none of this would have happened. She even had the audacity to claim that my coldness over the years had pushed her into another man's arms. I was speechless. She cheated. She lied. She let me raise a child that wasn't mine for 3 years, and now somehow I'm the bad guy? Now her family and even some of our mutual friends are turning against me. They say that DNA doesn't define a father and that I should just let it go because I've already been raising my son as some of our mutual.
You see that? And so now her mutual friends, see, and this is why the women are able to get away with the amount of wickedness that they do, is because they have a wicked counsel as well, too. All right, that's another precept in the book of Proverbs. I'm gonna have to look this one up. I know it's probably Proverbs the 16th chapter. It's been a while since I looked that precept up. Where it says, I'm trying to remember how it say it's they condemn the just, but justify the wicked. Loosely paraphrasing. Bear with me for a minute. And it really is abomination to the Lord. Yeah, see, Proverbs 17 and 15. And that's exactly what they did right there. So he was justified into going, and he had a suspicion, but he was justified in doing what was right. He was trying to find out the truth. But all the individuals, all his friends or so-called friends, and everybody that they basically took her side. Okay, they didn't. They basically enable the wicked behavior, and that's what's running rampant in America, aka Babylon the Great. So this Proverbs 17 and 15, and it says, "He that justify the wicked, and he that condemn the just, even they are both abomination to the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai." All right, so that's that calling process. So even with the individual, even if you even the individual that enable this wicked behavior and don't condemn it, all right, Yahweh Shem Yahweh gonna call them out as well too. So that's part of the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. All right. So this is a quick lesson, man. Just kind of piggybacking off what the elder apostle Gabar had put out, the lesson he had put out. All right. So let's go ahead and answer that question and First Peter 4 and 17, because it said, "Where shall the sinner and the ungodly appear?" All right, and we can answer that question in Revelation 21, and pretty much the point would be in verse 18. But we'll start at verse 7, okay? Because when you read in Zechariah, it said, "Two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein." All right, that third is going to be these individuals in verse 17. Revelation 20, 21, and 17, he said, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I shall be his power, and he shall be my son." So these are, during the colon process, Yahweh Shem Shai is taking out who is worthy, okay? And he put in the unworthy in that barn, all right. As the parable that Yahweh Shai had said, it put the righteous in a barn, and then he put the wicked, in a Salaki. It's that let me get that in Matthew. Loosely paraphrasing, it's that parable when Yahweh Shai it's that parable. I'm trying to remember that parable how it went, but but you put the righteous in a barn, and then the wicked basically got burnt up. The angels sent the wicked to be burnt. All right, loosely paraphrasing. So that's that calling process. All right, Salakia. But it's Revelation 21 and 7 again from the top, and it says, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son." Okay? And answering that question, it said, "But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars," okay? And that woman was a liar. She was all the above, all right? "Shall have their part in the lake was burned with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." Okay? So this is that calling process that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is gonna do eventually, and then that's when you're going to eventually see that new heaven and the new earth. All right, so Lord willing, this is edifying. With that, and we give all praise and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us the truth 100% securely. Shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasharala, shalom.